So guys, welcome to the paradox of this video. Are we living? Are we the living dead? Just what are we? So this video is going to contain a lot of what ifs. So if you're not into that sort of thing, please turn away now because you will get triggered. This is just me sitting around what ifing, getting a lot of things off my chest that I've been talking about for a very long time. And when I talk about are we the living dead, because I've talked about how could we be ghosts in the machine before, and as you know, some philosophies argue that there's no inherent meaning and that death is inevitable. I mean, if you look at it that point of view, are we all just slowly dying? So that leads to the idea that we're living corpse waiting for death. Is it just religious or spiritual beliefs that we're spiritually dead until we are awakened or enlightened? How do we go about being enlightened? Is it learning? Is it researching? Is it a frequency of faith that reanimates these bodies each morning? Just what is it? I mean, in Christianity, they say we are dead in sin. Is that because we're cut off from something spiritual? I don't know, but in this video I'm going to be looking at that. I'm going to be looking at the eyes and light and so much more. I mean, you've only got to look at some of the verses in this crazy world. I mean, some of the Bible verses that took me back were, and I'll read them out now if I can just find them. It says, "And you he made alive, who were dead in trespasses and sins." There is another one that says, "You have the reputation of being alive, but you are dead. Wake up and strengthen what remains and is about to die." Well, I thought you just said we were dead. Is this talking about spiritual, your faith? Do we need both to reanimate? I mean, we go to bed each night and die and resurrect each morning. We set ourselves lying down in a coffin state to be reanimated, to be resurrected. So in a video, it's going to be all things like this, and especially connected to the eyes and light and so many other what ifs and old clips thrown in. So hopefully you're up for the challenge, and hopefully I can portray what's in his crazy head and you can follow along. Right guys, so for my own benefit, I try and make these things as basic as possible so we can all get our heads around it. Because if you're sitting around at home or you're sitting down on the tube, the bus, whatever, and you're thinking, you're going over theories in your head like we do, I'm assuming we all do, we try and make it as basic as we can. So light is both a wave and a particle. One lot will say it's just a wave, one say it's just a particle. Then if you Google it or search engine it, it says no, it's both. And then there's talk of it being quantum stuff now. So I'm just going off the premise light is both a wave and a particle. And the double slit experiment proved that, I believe. Yet some people don't believe that is a valid experiment. What intrigues me about the double slit experiment, it's an 11. That's what takes my intrigue from that experiment. So we're talking about light and how we see things. So if you saw the video so far, you can see I'm talking about the dead and our eyes, and that just got me wondering, you know, because we need light to see, is there things out there that some people can see than others? All about wavelengths and because of light. So scientists, and I'm reading from my notes as well, scientists have studied light for centuries and they still don't fully understand it. So that's what gets me sitting in this, ooh, what if? So, and as you know, there's different types of wavelengths, and there's obviously radio, microwave, infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma, etc. And there's also things like solar luminescence, lightning, you know, the light it creates, reflections of the moon and different things on water. There's so many different aspects of light, and the point of this video that I'm trying to get is, what if different types of light reveal different things? So you saw little codes of wearing special glasses and lenses to see. You saw me talking about scrying mirrors in our eyes and how they are to contact the dead. All you need is a medium. We are the medium. We live in a medium. So it's easy to see things. So there is also, and I'll butcher the pronunciation of this, but a thing called tetrachromacy, and it's basically a condition, male and females. I'm assuming this is something to do with them spotting danger, carrying children about. I don't know, but it's mainly females. They don't rule out males having it, but there might be other things. And again, this is just a what if. So that condition basically makes a person, they can see more colours. Everything is more, it's like, you know, you got 4K, 8K and different things. It's more high def. They see more colours that people without it. And it's basically they have 4 cones in their eyes. And you know that the cones are the light reflecting or detecting cells. And it's like I said, it's mainly in women. So that got me thinking, so there's already things out there and people out there who can see better than the next person. You then had our ancestors, and again, I can't prove none of this, it's just research what you find on the webs, that says our ancestors had better vision overall and could also see better in the dark. And that so-called in the dark is where the ghoulies, the dead and the things come out. So you can see my point is when you see all these cave paintings and petroglyphs or whatever you want to call them, are they actually drawing on what they see? Because they actually saw on different wavelengths. They saw different things. Just gets you to think, because obviously on a whole, and again, whoops, just clean myself, we don't actually see colour, as I was saying in the last video, and that tripped me out a bit. We actually see, they don't actually say what we see in, it's just dark. I'm saying it's black and white, and it's basically the neurons and the brain. Obviously the light goes into those cones and rods, and the brain interprets it and turns it into a colour. So then you've also got people who have different more cones. What happens if the people different rods? And how that could alleviate and change the vision. So you can see my point on why it's intriguing me to start off with when we're talking about, can we see the dead? Are we the living dead? There's so much I want to, like I said, I want to get at in this video. And what got me intrigued was they call it like the spectral chart or spectral colours. Now, this refers to, and I've got to get to my notes for this. It refers to the components of light, basically visible to the human eye. So they call them the spectral colours. And it's basically the ones that are identified by a specific wavelength. So it refers to components of visible light to the human eye that are identified by the specific wavelength. So obviously we're talking about waves and different things on everything. Everything is a wave and a frequency. So they call it the spectral colours. And if I'm not right, there's 7. I've seen some, it says there's 12 and different things, but on whole there's different things. So here's what I'm saying. Now, do you believe in coincidences? And people will be screaming, no, Paul, how many times do we have to tell you there's no such thing as a coincidence? So this is where it gets me, and we're talking about seeing the dead. So I've just told you about the spectral colours. Basically refers to the components of light visible that we can see. Now I'll put it on the screen. I'll either put it aside or I'll cover my stupid face. Definition of spectral. So obviously there's that, but there's also a different meaning of spectral. And now it means coming from or seeing to be the spirit of a dead person. I don't believe in coincidences, so I name ghosties and ghoulies and the dead the same as the spectrum, the spectral colours. Hear me point? That's why I asked you before I said it, do you believe in coincidences? So this is what we're on about when we're talking about how people see ghosts, see the supernatural, see the weird shit in this realm. Gets you thinking, doesn't it? So I was just thinking to myself, so is the rainbow, you know, the spectral colours, are they, where did I put it now? Are they basically the dead? Is that how we can see the dead? In the form, well, one form of it, because people see ghosts, I've saw ghosts. Is that showing you essence of the dead in this realm? Because we're in a medium, and if everything is a wavelength and particles and different things, and they say energy does not die, see where I can go with this? See where I'm going with this? And you can just look at a various few cultures and things over the years. Obviously, the most famous people would recognise with rainbows is the Bifrost. The Bifrost. And that connects Earth with Asgard. But also, it's how, you know, with the Valkyries and different things, there's a few people that talk about how that connects the fallen warriors to Asgard. They travel through the Bifrost on that, which is intriguing. And then you've got a few cultures, one in Japan and Gabon, and rainbows are like bridges that human ancestors took to descend back to this realm. So they're just a few out there that we're talking about. I'll just sit down nice and casual that talking about rainbows. So that just got me thinking, are the spectral colours wavelengths and remnants of the dead? Is that how we see the dead? Because when you see a ghost, you typically, if you use like search engine ghosts, it's like see through and different things. But I've saw one solid. I've had a conversation. So as my mum as well. So this got me thinking, if everything is a wave, a wavelength, and I'll put a wavelength so you can see like different types of wavelengths on the screen. And this realm is just, everything is just a wavelength. And people talk about the fairy realm, hell realm, a bit like Midgard and different things, and you know, the middle realms and all these different names they have for different cultures of different worlds. What if all these worlds are here? You just have to be on the same wavelength. It's like when we gel and mix and whatever we're talking to resonates with you, you're on my wavelength, I'm on your wavelength. You then see what I see. So the new unique beauty of our eyes is basically a lie, and it's an illusion. We don't see colour. The brain tells us what colour is. And is that why we go to school to learn those spells? What about colourblind people? It's just trippy when you think about it. So we have these frequencies and waves. Well, what happens if you put another wave in? Another bunch of waves. And you can see it on screen. And then another bunch of waves. Somewhere along the line, these waves meet and create a door. And we can peep through. So, you know, we're talking about all these different programs and films, and when they put glasses on, if you've ever watched Fringe and they have like a door, a mirror, not a mirror, like a window, and you see the other universe, and people talk about multiple universes, and people have talked about counter Earth back in the day. The Greeks talked about counter Earth. I've done a video on that, and it's like, what happens if all these realms, the fairy realm, magic, and all this, are actually here? For instance, if you ever watched, is it Hellboy 2, The Golden Army? And I put a little clip in the intro, and he uses glasses to see the difference of people. People see people differently. They look at them, they look demonic, they look angelic, they look a creature. We saw these things, and sometimes it's like, what are they seeing? Are they on something? But what if it's just about wavelengths? It's like when you get a tuning fork. I got that quicker than last time. If you got a tuning fork, ding, and it's oscillating away, ding, they tend to match. So it's only about matching that wavelength. And I've talked about many times on the video, it's like like a ham CB radio. Once you've got that frequency, you can just switch between the channels. And people see trippy shit in this realm. Have they extra rods? Have they extra cones? What else is different? Is it in conjunction with the pineal gland? These are things that I want to try and look at in this video, and hopefully you can get what I'm trying to get. If light, and there's different spectrums of light that we can't even see, we just call it the spectrum, the visible light. That's what we can see. But if people have got different cones and rods and other things that makes them unique, and they can see shit that what call a normal person can't see, where are we to go? That's the beauty of this what if and intriguing video, and that's what I'm excited about, because we just talked about the spectral colours. Why name it? And the same meaning talks about the dead and seeing the dead, seeing the ghosties and ghoulies. So you can see why I'm getting excited. So if everything is a wave, and that's all we are basically walking around, even people talk about simulation with ghosts in the machine. I've talked about a sense of remember when I did a video called Epiphany, and it's like, see my writing. Let me get it now so you can see my writing. Get out the light so you can see my writing. And you can see my writing. You can see the writing underneath, but you can see it through the paper, and you can see it's left a groove. And then you think about the book and all the writing in it that becomes visible. You can see it, but you can't see it. It's hidden in plain sight. You just need to turn over the page. But sometimes you can see through the paper and see what's been already written. And that's revealing. And so that's what I want to get in this video, to look at everything. And that's why I was just briefly talking about, we go to sleep, we set like the Egyptian gods set. We resurrect in the morning. We become alive. Why do we need to recharge? So there's a lot of things I want to get at, and I hopefully I don't come across as too mental. But again, this is just a platform that I'm using to think, you know what, I was thinking about this, and if we see like this, you know, what if you or the person next to you can see? How many films have you saw? I see dead people, I see ghosts, I see demons, I see everything is hidden, but people can see. People can breach the veil. Is the veil a self-inflicted shield that we get taught from a kid? So when you were born, we are dying slowly, and we're into this realm, and we get taught, oh, there's no such thing as this, no such thing as this, no such thing as this, creating a veil that's hiding what the reality of this realm actually is. But children can see it, and as you get older, it's trying to get, you know, knocked out of you, trying to get inbred out of you, trying to get, you know, the programmed out of you. And people that can't accept it, dyslexic or people with so-called mental health problems, are actually seeing what they're actually talking about. So I've talked about these things a lot, but it's intriguing, isn't it? So if these are all waves, and then you put more waves in, there's light and waves that we're not even picking up. What happens in what's it called? Oh, why does things go out of your head? An eclipse. Shadows act differently. Things act differently in an eclipse. Is that revealing a different type of light, a different type of shadow? So you can see what I'm getting at. So guys, hopefully you're not too bored and you're falling back to sleep. I can't. I'm excited. So on with the video. Onwards. Right guys, so in that last section, if remembered, I did a graphic of me turning blue around me to show you basically about this field that I'm theorizing that we actually project, that blocks out a lot of what you guys call truth. I know I've done etymology and that to show you it doesn't mean that, but it's still a word that we all use, and we're talking about this realm around us and we're talking about our eyes, and we always me especially forget videos that we've done. Now let me just itch my nose. I'm talking about a field, and in a few videos of many years ago I talked about the toroidal field. People could call it the aura as well, and in that toroidal video I spelled etymology it and I broke it down in 3, and just going over it now, it's etymology. I'm like, whoa, I forgot that. So in a sense I did remember it because I was talking about the similar things, but I didn't remember that I did it. So the video that I was talking about was toroidal, the key to everything, and I'll put a little graphic on the screen so you know what it is on the video. But in that I break down the etymology like I always do, and one of the etymologies talks about the eyes. So if this toroidal field that is around us, and obviously is electromagnetic, and waves are electromagnetic radiation, and if we can manipulate ourselves, or the Lites, the L-shites as I call them, can manipulate fields, so basically hiding things in plain sight that they don't want us to see. Makes sense. So I'm going to show you that clip now and then I'll come back into it. But please, if you make content, check some of your videos that, you know, hold the key to everything. And I'm glad I really go back and have a look at it, because I went, wow. Wow. So I'll start off with the easiest one, and that is Tor. Yes, I'm using different languages, but hey, it's my video. If you don't like it, you know where the Tor is. Yep, Tor is German for door. So the first bit of the toroidal field, or torus field, means door. That's why they worship, yep, you got it, Janos, who's the god of doorways. So now we're looking at oid, O-I-D. That actually means, you ready, form and essence. It means appearance also, and a few other things. But isn't that wow? Form and essence. Now in Greek it means eidos or eidos. I don't know why I did it like that for. Sounds more like Italian. So eidos, that's what it means in Greek. Now this is where I first found eidos being mentioned with a few things, and also the Holy Spirit, which blew me away. So this is eidos. As you can see, definition: the external or outward appearance, form, figure, shape. Number 2, form and kind. Also in regard to species, to eidos. So there is even a computer company called eidos too. So that's intriguing, isn't it? And I've got some more coming up now. So the next bit has a lot more information on. Talks about eidos as appearance, fashion, shape, sight, visible form, shape, appearance, outward show, kind, species or class. Now in the help word studies, eidos means to see or apprehend properly the sight, someone exposed, observable, especially its outward appearance or shape. Emphasize what is physically seen before mentally or spiritually apprehend. So now you can see why I'm excited. Eidos, basically the toroidal field, could mean the doorway to your eyes, and obviously the windows are the windows, and your eyes are the windows to your soul. And toroidal field could regulate what gets to your soul, how you see this realm, because if they said it's electromagnetic field, and it's manipulating and controlling the fields around you, letting you channel. Remember, people who can experience things channel forces in them. And what we're talking about, the forces, our eyes, your sight, it's all connected. And this is a big wow moment to me, that the toroidal field is how we see this realm and how we don't see this realm. So you can see why I'm excited. So I'm going to let you get back to the clip, but I just had to intercede here and intersect that. Whoa, look at it. It's talking about the eyes and how we see and what comes in. And if the windows, the eyes are the windows to the soul, the doors to the soul. It's talking about the toroidal field being the door to your eyes, the door to your see, the door to your sight, how you see this realm, and people will talk about, is it the sight of these eyes? Is it the sight of the third eye, which is the pineal? And the occult name for the pineal is Janus. Whoa, all these connections. It's like it's done by design. Right, let's get back to it. Ido. Example, eidos, visible appearance, refers to the outward form taken by each of the three persons of the tripersonal God. The Holy Spirit in Luke 3:22, and the Holy Spirit descended upon him in bodily form like a dove. Jesus in Luke 9:29, and while he has been praying, the appearance of his face became different, and his clothing became white and gleaming. And the Father in John 37, you have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his form. So it's intriguing, it's talking about his form and his shape. People say, well, you can't see the toroidal field. Some people see auras. In this time, were we able to see the toroidal field? Think about it. People are seeing people's face change. Everything change. Is this in regard to the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the toroidal field being corrupted, and we're seeing a different appearance and different essence of what is actually underneath? Just makes you think, doesn't it? Right, so this says what the Bible says about eidos. I'm just including a few more. So in Luke 9:29, it says, the word appearance is eidos, or eidos, that which can be seen with the eye. Wow. That which can be seen with the eye. And that's how we see this realm, and your toroidal field is key to it. Whoa. Right, remember, eidos is also the Greek for oid, which is in toroidal field. So the appearance, as I'm saying, could be the toroidal field that people at that time could see, or the aura. Which, anyway, there's so many ways you can describe it, and there's so many names you can give it. That's the beauty of it, because people will be seeing this and not see what I see, and feel urged to tell me what they see. Now, this one is in John 5:37. Jesus gives no indication that the Father has no form. He is saying that he does indeed have a form. He teaches that he has a voice and shape. The word form here is from the Greek eidos, which means form, shape, appearance, fashion. It is used in context indicating what can be seen with the eye. Now, is that the normal eye or the third eye? The pineal gland. Is the pineal gland anything in regard to this? Did they have the activation? Was there stronger? Because obviously there's fluoride and so much pollution to ours in the modern era. That is what Jesus says. You have not seen his form. That is with the eyes. He does not mean something visualized in the mind. Luke 3:22 says, and the Holy Spirit descended in bodily form. Those who were there saw it with their eyes, and it had shape to it. Likewise, the Father has shape that is visible to the eyes, and a voice that is audible to the ears. So I thought it couldn't get any more wow, because people don't like me use the word wow. So for those that's wow, 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 it's the fact that the OID, in toroidal field, I reversed it, I mirrored it, and look what I got. So toroidal, as you can see, toroidal. If you change the OID to DIO, you get something even more wow or mind blown. It really is. And I remembered it from an old video. so I just had to put it in. Dio is from Latin dios, alternate form of divus, divine, godlike. Proto-European dios meaning heavenly, and from the root Giueo or whatever, dio meaning sky or heaven. So now that's even wow, because you're just reversing, you're just mirroring it, because people always talk about, oh, they like to mirror things. So even the mirror of the oid, which give the Holy Spirit and eidos, give you heaven, sky, divine. How wow is that? So when we're looking at the etymology or spell etymology of that toroidal, al basically is God, or again something else that's divine. So that's self-explanatory, that one. But let's look at the ones that we've got from this so far. So the top one is the door to the Holy Spirit of God. Another interpretation that I've done today could be the door, the gateway, the form or shape to or of God. And the last, if you use DIO instead of OID, the doorway, gateway of the divine or to heaven our God. So guys, I'm going to go slightly off topic here, but it's all connected because I want to talk about the pineal gland. I want to talk about gold. I want to talk about the circumpunct. I want to talk about the Sumerians. I want to talk about the Anunnaki. And this is all relation to the eyes and everything that I'm trying to get in this video. But it is slightly off topic. But I'm glad I went off topic because what I found could be an answer, a possible answer to the famous images of them holding pine cones. Now, a long time ago, I did do a video showing you people's different opinions and theories on it called a pine cone ritual. I did 2-3 years ago. And I want to progress that because doing this video and going over my old content that I've made even 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's gave me like a aha moment of what it could be, because it's all in regard to enlightenment and gold, you know, because I talk about info and all this stuff as gold, don't I? And whether you believe it or not, because some people believe it's fabricated, and it can, but it's information and it's been pushed for a reason. So the reason it's been pushed may be about the Anunnaki and talk about how they created humans and how they created humans to mine gold. Well, what if the mining gold wasn't gold in the sense of gold? It could be, probably, but what if it's a gold is the information, what I talk, the research and the enlightenment process, the pineal gland, all this combined into one. What if it was just that? I want to show you the evidence for this, and it blew me away. It really did blow me away, all this, and it all connects. So what you're going to see now is me basically narrating all the stuff that I've put from old and new together, and I just wanted to give you a heads up before seeing what's going on here. But so this is what this next section is. It's all about the eyes, the pineal, the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, all that stuff, just so that you know. Don't blame me if you get a blown mind, because my mouth is like that and my head is like, I can't believe I never saw this. So enjoy. So here we go, my crazy head. This is what's in it. So what you're seeing on the screen here is, and I'll put an arrow, that is a symbol for circumpunct. That is a symbol for gold. That is one of many symbols for the sun. And underneath you have the symbol for what is known as the Sol Niger. I can't say the other one because YouTube don't like it. And obviously it is that German party in World War II. They actually basically bastardized it, and that's what it is. But do you notice something that resembles in all of them? They're basically all in one same symbol, aren't they? And many years ago, I theorized that the Sol Niger could in fact be it showing you our eyes and enlightenment and things like this, because to me they look one in the same. Hopefully you can see that. So let's get down to this reading bit, and yes, it will be about Janus and different things because it's relevant. In occultism, the pineal gland is regarded as a link between the objective and subjective states of consciousness. So this is what it matters. If you tie that in with our toroidal field, what I'm talking about, could this be a method of interchanging between realities and worlds and realms if you get that frequency, if you get that light? Because obviously the light from the sun is basically our visible light. Then you have the Sol Niger. Would that be a different frequency? There's talk about our sun actually had a twin, and they are talking about this now in mainstream science, because every other system in the so-called universe all have a binary sun, have two suns. So this is what I'm trying to get. More light or different light, would that reveal different things? Or in exoteric terminology, the visible and invisible worlds of nature. So this is what I'm talking about. Is this way of us seeing through different realms, the visible and the invisible? In the religions of the Latins, it was therefore referred to as Janus, the two-faced god and keeper of the gates of sanctuary, the keeper of the gates, the third eye. This divinity was the archetype or antitype of St. Peter, which succeeded him as the warder of the heavenly portals and who carries the two keys of his office, which is the chiasm, the X in our heads, one to the golden mysteries of the spirit and the other to the silver mysteries of the body. The two-faced gods are frequently spoken of in ancient terms. But what I'm getting at is, if we can see other realms in regard to different types of light, and the pineal is key, if you had more rods, more cones, or the way it's basically how you are made is slightly different, and if you see things, could this down to the pineal and down to it coexisting with the toroidal field, basically moving you through different realms and in different lights of the visible and the invisible. It's crazy. So let's carry this on, and you'll see why I was talking about the Sumerian and the Anunnaki. There is an alchemical mystery also in connection with the pineal gland, for the regeneration of man is dependent upon the tincturing of this gland. So this is talking about the alchemical mystery in connection with the pineal, but also for the regeneration of man. Tincturing means, and here is what it means, a medicine made by dissolving a drug in alcohol, or the old meaning of tincture is a substance that colours, dyes or stains, heraldic metal, colour or fur, and this is the obsolete one, an active principle of an extraction. So remember that, extraction or a medicine or a drug. Right, so let's carry on. So they're talking about how it's in connection with depending on the tincturing of the gland, which must be transmuted from base metal into gold. Unawakened by Kundalini, the pineal gland is the vehicle of the Kama-manras, the animal mind, Aphrodite, but when tinctured by the spiritual light, it becomes Buddha Manas, the divine mind. This Buddhai Manas is the Thoth of the later Egyptian mysteries, the god of learning and letters. So you can see why I'm intrigued, because this is talking about tincturing, whether it's just spiritual or alchemical. That got me thinking. So coming up now is a picture of the pineal gland, but I also theorise it looks like someone on the knees praying, and then I put basically a dark vector in so you could just look. Tell me, does that not look like basically a person sitting in between the temple or in the temple praying to the divine? Remember, the light comes into the eyes, which is the altars of the divine, which I theorised in that other video. So what's next? What's got me mind blown? So now we go to these images of the Anunnaki with the pine cone, and a lot of people have talked about how yes, it is talking about the pineal gland and other theories on it, but I take it, and I'm going to take it as what I'm seeing is plain as day. This is them extracting our pineal gland and using it as medicine or a drug or a narcotic, or for some other reason that I will get into. So when you start seeing images of the gods obviously with the eyes wide. But the next one is particularly what made me go, wow. Remember this one, the Anunnaki or the Sumerian, with the eyes wide, and it looks like they're tripping out. Well, when someone is on a substance, their eyes dilate. What difference is that, guys? It's like they're tripping out on something. They've taken something. Now, this is what I'm theorising. Are they taking and extracting our pineal gland? Is that the gold that a lot of people are talking about in ancient past? And as you know, the main things that are sourced from the pineal gland, what I don't know if people actually agree on it, but science say is melatonin and serotonin. Now, look at what melatonin means. Chemical formed in the pineal gland of mammals that regulates certain psychological activities. From Greek melas, meaning black or dark. As soon as I say that, you automatically think of like black goo, or like Prometheus type of thing, or the carbon. That just mind-blowing. So this is what I'm talking about. Are they extracting this black dark substance which is a melatonin from the pineal gland? And as you can see, ending from serotonin, so called because its secretion is inhibited by sunlight, or because it changes the skin colour of certain reptiles and amphibians. So what does serotonin mean? And as you can see, it means serum or tonic. Again, are they taking this substance as a tonic? What does serum mean? An amber coloured protein rich liquid which separates out when blood coagulates. Or underneath, the blood serum of an animal used to provide immunity to a pathogen or toxin by inoculation or as a diagnostic agent. And again, a serum definition: the thin yellowish liquid part of the blood. Serum taken from an animal's blood and put basically black and gold. That song from Sam Spiro, Black and Gold, always comes to mind when I'm saying these two things. But mining black goo or black liquid and the gold. So you can see why I'm thinking, did they take these substances from our pineal gland? Are they mining the black and the gold? You see why I am excited. Also, and science, well, from what I've seen, they can't 100% agree on it, but they do talk about DMT being produced in the pineal gland. So analysts reveal that DMT significantly altered electrical activity in the brain, characterized by a marked drop-off in alpha waves, the human's brain dominant electrical rhythm when we are awake. They also found a short-lived increase in brain waves typically associated with dreaming, namely theta waves. So this is what I'm talking about. Was these ancients taking the substance melatonin, serotonin, or was it DMT? Look at their eyes, they all produce the same type of thing to change the frequency or the way they're thinking or the consciousness. What is DMT hallucination like? The world appears very distorted when you trip out on DMT. Colours, sound, objects and even time can seem very strange. And some people experience an out-of-body experience. Taking DMT can make you see and hear things that aren't there, hallucinate, which might be good or a bad experience. But what if you're seeing other realms while you're on this substance? We used to produce it in more quantities, but something happened and it's been very reduced. Previous studies show that DMT alters specific frequency bands. Wow! So this DMT would change a frequency bands, altering the way you see this realm. And they are harvesting this. My mind's blown, because this is just another look at this pine cone from the Anunnaki and the Sumerians. Were they actually just tincturing, using the substances that are contained in the pineal gland for nefarious substances? And if you think about it, if we are dead, the pupils die and become fixed shortly after death due to the loss of the nervous control. No response to light is observed. This is what's all connected about the eyes. So when you look at these famous images of their eyes, they look like they're on something. Is that what they're trying to show in the eyes dilating? My mind's blown, guys. This is why I had to talk about this. And I wanted to ask AI or Chat GPT on this topic and look at the reply I got. And here's a question: could melatonin be medicine for the gods? And here's the reply from the AI: yes, and what a beautiful concept. If we step outside of strict biology and into the realm of metaphor, myth and philosophy, melatonin could absolutely be seen as a kind of medicine for the gods. Let's explore that idea in different layers. I've been talking about the layers of this realm, and this stuff and DMT could change your channel bandwidth. So here we go, let's carry on. Melatonin as medicine for the divine weariness. Imagine gods who are not all powerful but ancient beings who carry the weight of time, memory and human suffering. For such gods, melatonin becomes a gentle cure, not for the body but for the burden of the eternal wakefulness. They don't sleep like us, but maybe they drift, dream or fade into long silences. Melatonin isn't just sleep, it's the permission to rest, to withdraw from the chaos of the world. And underneath you have obviously the symbolic meaning. Melatonin, the darkness hormone, signals nightfall. If gods are always bathed in divine light, maybe melatonin brings back mystery, shadow and an inner stillness. It could represent a return to the primordial silence before creation, and a kind of medicine that reminds the gods of the beauty of forgetting, of quiet or not always watching. And there's more. Now in number 3 it says, in a more sci-fi fantasy sense, in a more speculative or modern myth setting, melatonin might be discovered by humans that helps gods feel something again. Or it's a divine narcotic, this blew me away, used by gods who have lived too long, seen too much and now seek oblivion or dreams. Perhaps one god invented it and gave it to others as a gift. Here, take this, it will help you let go just for a while. My mind's blown. And the poetic fragment at the end talks about the gods once roamed in sleepless stars, their minds ablaze with mortal noise, but one, weary of eternity's hum, took melatonin and learned the mercy of stillness. And so they dreamed not to escape the world, but to feel it again. Tell me, guys, is your mind not blown on that? That a possible reason for this pine cone in the hand was them showing you taking the pineal gland or extracting this substance from it, and they're using it as a narcotic. My mind is absolutely blown on that, and hopefully you guys can see, no pun intended, how significant this could be if this was true. My mind's blown. Right guys, so like me, you'd have been asking, hey, what about eye colour? Why do we all have different eye colours? And eye colour is determined by the amount and type of melanin pigment in the iris, the coloured part of the eye. Now I've just been talking about melatonin, and could they be mining that in serotonin or DMT, the black and gold. Now when you start looking at melanin, something will pop out with you in a little sec and you'll go, wow. So is there such thing as a coincidence? So I'll carry on. So melanin absorbs and reflects light, and different combinations of melanin lead to the various eye colours that we see. Now could they have been mining this melanin? Because hey, if we all started off as brown eyed, why do we get the variations now? Is it because they've been draining this through the generations? So here's a more detailed explanation. Melanin, the primary pigment responsible for eye colour according to, science, is the same pigment that gives skin and hair the colour. Now melanin types, here we go guys, here's this aha moment. There are two types of melanin: pheomelanin, brown or black, and pheomelanin, yellow and red, black and gold, yellow and black. My mouth went, wow. So you can either have melatonin or now you can have melanin, and there's a black and gold in both. And now, iris layers. So the iris has two layers, a front layer, a stroma, and a back layer. The back layer always contains melanin, but the amount and distribution in the front layer vary, influence the final eye colour. So like brown eyes, high concentrations of melanin in both layer results in brown eyes, as melanin absorbs a lot of light. Less melanin in the front layer allows for light scattering, a phenomenon called the Tyndall effect, which makes blue eyes appear blue. Green and hazel eyes, these colours result from a combination of melanin types and varying concentrations, creating a mix of brown and green hues. Genetic influence. Eye colour is primarily determined by genes, which multiple genes involving in regulating melanin production and distribution. Evolutionary perspective. It is believed that all humans originally had brown eyes, and mutations leading to reduced melanin production resulted in the evolution of other eye colours, particularly blue eyes. Now it got me thinking, you know what, I've asked this chat GPT, and I like asking that because it gives some strange results. So, you know, I encourage people to ask different questions. So I asked it this question after reading that and doing what I did on melatonin. Now I'll read it out and I'll show you on screen now. So I asked, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. I asked it, what use could the elites have for melanin? And here's the result. And it shocked me, to be honest. The idea that elites, the elites, might have a specific or secret use for melanin often appears in speculative or conspiratorial discussions. I've never saw it, but that don't mean now because I'm a hermit. But let's separate speculative theory from science and actual applications. Here's a grounded look at what melanin is, its known uses, and why some people believe it's of special interest. So, intriguing so far. What is melanin? As I just said, melanin is a natural pigment found in most organisms, responsible for coloration in skin, hair and eyes. It also plays an important protective role. Protects against UV radiation by absorbing harmful ultraviolet rays. Neutralizes free radicals, providing antitoxin properties. And conducts and absorbs energy, including certain forms of electromagnetic radiation. Wow. So you can just see some of its applications for something, or a race, or what people want to call the elites or the gods, you know, high-tech people, you know, advanced races, advanced humans. So known scientific and industrial uses of melanin. Medical research. Neuroprotection. Melanin is present in parts of the brain, substantia nigra, and is being studied for its role in Parkinson's disease. Drug delivery. Melanin nanoparticles are being researched as carriers for targeted drug delivery and cancer treatment. Photoprotection, used in developing advanced sunscreens and skin treatments. Biotech and electronics. Bioelectronics. Melanin can conduct electricity and has been studied for its use in biodegradable batteries and organic semiconductors. This is mind-blowing. Radiation shielding. NASA and others are investigating fungal melanin from radiotropic fungi as a lightweight material for protecting astronauts from cosmic radiation. I know your minds are going now. Cosmetic and pharmaceuticals, using pigmentation products of treatments for skin colours like vitiligo. Now, why the interest from the elites? Speculative theory suggests elites may value melanin for its radiation absorption, its potential as a bioshield. Wow. Energy conductivity, possible use in futuristic or military tech. Longevity and resilience, theory to help protect cells from damage, possibly aiding in anti-aging research. I feel like swearing. Cultural or symbolic significance. In esoteric or occult circles, melanin is sometimes given mystical or spiritual importance. While there's no credible evidence any global elite are hoarding melanin or extracting it for secret projects, interest in it across multiple advanced scientific fields, medicine, defense, biotech, is real and growing. The conclusion of this chat GPT. Melanin is a powerful biological compound with genuine scientific and industrial potential, especially in medicine, space travel and bioelectronics. The idea that elites might seek to harness it stems from both its promising capabilities and broader mistrust of secret institutions. However, any claims or exploitation or hidden use should be examined critically and supported by hard evidence. So that is ChatGPT, and the question: what use could the elites have for melanin? Tell me your mind's not blown. It's just not me for dust. Like, they're using melatonin, DMT, and now you even have the use of melanin, which is in the production of eyes, how we see, and its effect. Wow, guys! And you just look some of the uses, and you be like me now. Things are racing through your head. Like, wow, what about this? What about that? And that's what I love doing on this channel. Just putting some of these questions up and seeing what you guys come back with. It's beautiful. Right, guys, I want to finish with what I'm going to talk about now, because I've been going for about an hour now, and time is precious to us all. So, as you can see on the screen, this is the image I showed you about the pineal, and could it represent a person kneeling? And obviously the pineal is highlighted in red. I've not done it, it's just what I found on the webs, and you can find it on the webs too. But in the old video that I also talked about a few things, did it look like someone kneeling? I also talked about, could this image represent the Sacred Heart? And that blew me away to think about it, because it looks like a little heart beating, doesn't it? And if the pineal is as sacred as everyone agrees, could that be symbolic of the Sacred Heart? So, I asked a few questions to the ChatGPT again, and he said, in some mystical or metaphysical traditions, people might say the Sacred Heart is the emotional gateway to divine love. And then underneath, the pineal gland is the energetic gateway to divine knowledge. So it's very, very, very similar. So let's carry on. So they did a side by side. Sacred Heart on the left, pineal gland, spiritual view on the right. Sacred Heart, divine love, emotional core. Pineal, inner light, spiritual core. Sacred Heart glows with divine energy in art. The third eye said to glow or radiate in sight. Obviously both tied to the divine light that I talked about in my sin video. Represents connection to God, the Sacred Heart. Pineal gland said to connect to higher consciousness. Last one for Sacred Heart, central symbol in Christian mysticism, and pineal gland is central symbol in esoteric traditions. So you can see how both these connect. And all those years ago when I just mentioned it, doesn't that remind you of the heart? So could it be the Sacred Heart? Now and behold, you do see a connection. But as I'm making the video and talking about these things, I also thought about, hey, I've talked about Janus being the connection to the divine, the gateway, everything has to go through him. And just look at this person kneeling with the two hemispheres of the brain. It looks like two heads, doesn't it? And obviously we showed you all the connection with Janus and consciousness in the pineal. The actual pineal gland is called Janos. So could that be that? But there's another epithet, another name Janus goes by. So I wanted to look into that quickly. And the other name he goes by is Prometheus, the bringer of knowledge, bringer of fire. So I wanted to look down that route. Could this be Prometheus? And here's what it threw out. Prometheus is the pineal gland, means the pineal gland is like Prometheus. It gives us inner fire, awareness, divine knowledge, but it may also come with consequences. So pretty profound that. And again, it did a side by side for a few answers. Brought divine fire, knowledge to man. Pineal gland brings inner light or spiritual vision. Was punished for sharing divine truth. Awaken the pineal is often seen as risky or sacred. And obviously Prometheus is known as fire, which is light and wisdom. And the pineal, the third eye, is insight, higher awareness. So you can see how both connect. So if you delve into Prometheus a bit more, and his brother Epimetheus, he created animals, but Prometheus took some mud and began to sculpt. First he made a strong torso, then clever hands, sturdy feet, and bright eyes. And I know this is just how language is done, but I took it for they're talking about the eyes. Now look what it says: sturdy feet and bright eyes. He had made them in the image of the gods themselves. I've told you how the eyes are connected to the divine and how they're altars, and it's a sacred place of worship. And like that verse, your eyes are the lamp of the body, what you take in. Basically, if it's good, it's better for your body. If it's bad and evil, it affects your body, your vessel, the ship that is sailing on these seas. So that made me think he had made them in the image of the God themselves. He's talking about the eyes. And people say he's talking about the body, he's talking about us in the image. But what if it's just the eyes? That just blew me away. And if you look at the name Prometheus, the actual etymology in Greek, it's derived from the words pro, meaning before, and mathano, meaning to learn or to think, signifying forethought or forethinker. This aligns with the myth of Prometheus, who is known for his foresight, foresight, and cunning, particularly in his actions of giving fire to humanity and tricking Zeus. His name is often contrasted with his brother Prometheus, which means afterthought. And obviously they like the folklore, the tale, the myth. You know, he double-crossed Zeus, who he wasn't happy with on how he was treating humans, and Zeus chained him to a rock. Now, could this be what we're seeing today? Prometheus chained to a rock, and that is what we're seeing in this image of the guard, the priest, guarding the divine. It's just a thought. See what you guys think. Hopefully I'll expand on this in my thoughts.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right guys, welcome back. It feels like forever, ever between each video, but things are happening behind the scenes and hopefully you'll see some change soon. No, I'm decorating a box room that I had stuff to store in, and I thought, you know what, it'd be nice if I could just get in there and have a little place for the channel to do videos, and it's ease of use. So hopefully that'll be coming soon if I can get around to it. I keep things keep happening, you know, so it is just crazy time. So guys, like always, thank you, just thank you for the love, the support. It means a lot to me. If you like the videos, like, share and subscribe. It helps us to beat the AI algorithms, and all your help is truly appreciated. So if you do love the channel, you do like the content, share it about. If you want to help the channel more, you can always buy me a bar, which is buy me a coffee, and the QR code is there. So all helps and keeps us going, keeps me going, and it really does get me emotional. So thank you. So what do you want to take away from this video? What did you expect? I did not expect, and I've made all the content. But when you all put it together and then theorize on a few things, it's a what if. I know some people don't like a what if. They want to be told it's this. I could easily come on here with authority saying this is a fact, and people go, oh, it's a fact, and they probably support it more. But I'm objective. I like to be objective. I like to say, hey guys, just take away what you see from this and what makes sense to you, because we see this realm, no pun intended, uniquely and differently, and I've been working on that type of content for a long time. Toroidal field, our eyes, and when you come down to it, there's a common denominator in all this, and it's you, the unique one. We like to be told we're all the same, but we're unique. We all have our own private IP. I call it the router, the inboard router, and it's unique to each one of us. And I've talked about crystals many times over the years, showing you how much crystal is in us. It's like I was ahead of the curve, not just in a spiritual sense. It's like I'm just showing you, you know, why they label crystals as the occult, the hidden, because you're mainly crystal. And like crystals, the energy can be transferred, in the sense of, if something happens, dark, negative, sad, and it's around a crystal, it can absorb into the crystal, and you can then buy it from a shop or find it in the ground, or someone will give it you, and the bad effects, the bad mojo can be taken over, and then you're holding it and you're using it, and you just, that's nice, I like that, and you're keeping it around. Well, that bad energy is stored in that. And what they tend to do is, if you buy stuff or get stuff, you're supposed to leave out the sun or the moon to basically cleanse it. And that's always played on me mind for years, and thinking, why are they using the sun and the moon to cleanse it? What is it? Those waves, it's to cleanse it, to reset it. So all that has been playing on for years. And then the last videos that I was doing on the sin ritual and the left eye, meaning sinister, I wanted to look at and say, why are these people worshipping the eye? What is the possible reason? And one of the main ones that, just tired, not sleeping so much lately, because you won't be well, and I don't like to mention it too much, but it is relevant. It's why the video was taking so long. My mum was rushed into hospital, and it was needed an operation urgently, and so it's been an emotional week. All is good now, but it takes your toll on it, doesn't it? So that's where I've been, and doing that and decorating in between. I should be like that. So these things play in your mind, and this, I'm a thinker of sorts. I'm always thinking and looking at things differently. And when we are talking about why are they so obsessed with the eyes, and one of the conclusions I came back in that last ritual was that our eyes are an altar. They accept the divine light, and obviously you have your temples there, and that is what they're trying to harness and use and manipulate and cause us more anguish, because what's inside these vessels they want to get at, they want to manipulate, they want to control. And whatever you feed through you, it's not necessarily, it is in a sort. So if you just eat fast food all the time, you're going to put weight on, you're going to become ill. What you feed into your body affects your temple, affects your consciousness and everything like that. And they call the pineal the seat of the soul, don't they? And you can believe, many cultures have different opinions and beliefs and things, but it's intriguing that's what they want to, and calcify it and different things. So coming on from that last video, I'm like, wow, I can see now why they do all these rituals to affect the eyes and the vision. Obviously we're on the computer, and it's the nature of the beast. If we didn't have this, we wouldn't be in contact, and the blue light from that is no good for our eyes. Obviously we wear glasses and different things, and it affects our sight, and a lot of people are getting worse sight. So hence me, while I'm portraying and carrying on with this look at the eyes. And again, like I was saying, the video is evolved. It was going one way, then it went another way, and then I span round and came back, and then it went another way, and it's like, wow where are you going, Paul? Can people understand this? And in a selfish way, I do the videos for me, so they always make sense in my head. And obviously I just let you, I come on here, so obviously then people can see what's going on in this crazy head. So a lot of people do struggle sometimes to follow my accent. Sometimes people, I find it hard to follow, and I can't revisit every video and put it in to lead you up to a point. It's very hard to do that. Plus, how many hours do you want it in a day and visit? People don't, attention spans only last so long in videos, and they'll either pause it or come back or just watch it in snippets. So we come to one of them conclusions. That's why they want to the worship the eye, because obviously it's connected to consciousness, the divine light. And then we go into this video, and as we're making the video, I'm like, well, I'm talking about the dead and how we see the dead and how we see the supernatural and see the weird shit. How could that possible? Because why don't every one of us see it constantly? Because obviously we're all unique, and as the eyes are the windows to the soul, what's behind it is the pineal. And I've looked at the pineal for years, and I've just researched it from the point of view of Manly P. Hall calls it the Janus. Because when you research and you've seen all these things, it's like people just switch off when they hear that. They all go, they rave and talk about the occult and Manly P. Hall, and then when you show them what he calls pineal, it's like, and that's bloody significant. So you look at many of these topics that people research and put on the web for people to watch, and they don't like it. And that's always intrigued me and caught my attention. That's why I keep revisiting certain topics and looking at it from a different point of view of that. So I've always looked into this, the pineal, in different ways, and people can call it different things. And then when as we're going and progressing with this video, I thought, I've done a video on the toroidal field, and I broke that down. Toroidal. And that was like an epiphany again. I'm like, wow, how did I forget that? Because obviously in that, whether it's metaphorically, spiritually, allegorically, any of these long posh words that we like to use, it talks about the toroidal field affecting how we see and letting us see, and talking about shape and form and essence. And if everything is electromagnetic, you've only got to see the things with magnets and different things and frequencies. And if we produce a torus field, and that is like a Dune force field or the Force from Star Wars, whatever way you want to look at it, if we're producing that, and that's what guards us, and we're talking about radiation from the waves, from the light, from sound, refracting, diffracting, double diffracting, hitting this field, and it's amazing. And then when you start looking at that, like, we don't see colour. Our brain interprets it and gives it that colour. But you're taught from school, you're shown pictures and things. Hey, this is green, this is olive green, this is blue, this is red. So you've stored that for that. But what if everything is a lie, or the people say everything is a lie? What is it we actually do see? What happens if we don't see? What happens if what they're saying is true? How do you prove that we see in black and white? Is it people with colourblind? But if it's colourblind, but it's just us interpreting those signals, why are the people colourblind? And, maybe I should have looked into that, because people will tell me the answer. But if it's a sense of just this light hitting cones and rods, and then that information then gets, broken down and then interpreted, and that's how you see. There's people with more cones. I'm assuming there might be people with more rods, and people see in more colours, and there's so-called hidden colours out there. It's just amazing when you just look at something so simple as colours or your eyes, and see the interpretation of those things over the eons. We're talking about eyes and time in my last video, and breaking down of that. What is time? Time is a man-made construct. Time doesn't exist. Clocks do. Will we age? Is that, what happens to the energy? They say energy doesn't die. So where does the energy go? Does it go to what people believe is heaven, what people believe is hell, purgatory, in between, all the different the realms? And that's when we get on to what I was talking about, like your book. All the realms together. But you can't see what's underneath. You have to turn it. So that aspect, or sometimes you can see through what's written. There's invisible ink. There's invisible light. We only see in the visible light. So what if we could see everything? People talk about DMT is a bridge to access all these different things. And that's what brought me into that other thing about the pine cone and the pineal. But if you just sit down and like something so like what they say benign as they said, just eyes and how you see and why it affects us all differently, because you're the unique one, you're the common denominator in all these things. How many times over the years have you said, whoa, did not see that was hidden in plain sight? Why are they bombarding you with porn? Why are they bombarding you with negativity? Why are they bombarding you with evil? Why are they bombarding you with this? Because you are what you eat. The eyes, as they say, are the lamps of the body. So if you it always reminds me of, do you remember the Golden Child? And they're trying to force the Golden Child to eat, and he has a bit of green light and he's surviving himself, but they're bombarding him constantly with negative and evil chants, symbols, cymatics. There's things I didn't even put in the video about cymatics of different frequencies, and when you look at them together, it's like your eyes. And maybe how that is how your eyes reflect. We're in a medium. There's waves and everything around us hitting our eyes, and our eyes are constricting and diluting and dilating and all the other words that we use for it. And it was funny that when I looked into the word cymatics and CY could be shown etymologically as IA, and another name for Janus, I was like, whoa. And then we start looking at Janus, and he is the bridge. He's the bouncer. He's the janitor. Everything has to go through him. He's like the prism. And it's funny that one of the friends of the channel, I don't want to say because they didn't ask permission, but you know who you are. So I've said this before, but I always like to, when people make a good comment, to talk about the prison being the prison. And people talk about this realm being purgatory or prison, and there's Tartarus and different things like that. And obviously the light goes through your lens. It's like a prism. But you've also got your toroidal field is acting as a prism. So it's a crazy world that we live in, and they are bombarding you daily. If you are a negative person, because I believe there's two different types out there. People are not always walking around kumbaya, and sometimes that does my head in. I like to be happy, but I like to be left alone in my own peace. But if you're negative, great. If you're happy, great. But don't project your happiness on me. Don't project your negativity on me. Let me be me. And what the problem is with this society, people want to make you into them. They want to portray whatever they have, their personality, onto you and say you are this, you are that, you are this. Well, no, this is my house, this is my temple. If someone came into my house, started talking to me like shit, there's only one place to go in, and it's through the door. But it's true, isn't it? So whatever we eat affects your body. It's even like them old quotes from Bruce Lee. Basically, if you tell yourself you're shit and negative, your body doesn't know no difference. It's the vessel. Remember, these are ships. They're carrying. So if you carry more sadness, more negativity, eventually you're going to go below the water. And, you know, you'll tip over. You'll have a breakdown. So people should just keep, you know, things to themselves. I'm all for people who want, if you want to be a negative and swimming in turds, you go for you. Go you. But don't betray your negativity onto me. And likewise with positivity. I want to be who I am. You know, sometimes you need both. You need the balance. And this is what we're doing with this. Is when something tragic happens, a death in the family or whatever, and it affects you, you like take that frequency on. And, you know, if you throw yourself in death, you will see death. And when we see, is that how more and more people see the strange around them? It's like I was talking about the layers, and each layer having a frequency, and you're able to tune into that and store it in memory. Because it always bothered me that it's like, how do we see things? Like I said, I've saw ghosts, I've had conversations with them, and I'm like, how is that possible? Is it just because of your age? Is it just because you may be ill at the time? The so-called veil was thin at that moment. And that's why I was talking about in his video, in the sense of, is the veil like a man-made construct, like time, a clock, and it was put in place? Because maybe, I don't know, I'm winging it, I'm theorising on what ifing. It may be being put in place for your protection. It may be being put in place to stop you from learning and seeing the different lights of the Creator. You know, that is where it all comes down to you and what your intuition says on each of these things. Everyone wants to control you. So that's why I just go under the premise, if that's true, when we are born and when you're younger, you're more prone to manipulation, aren't you? That's when you start happening when you're younger, because the child's mind. But that's when you are so-called close to the divine, the light, the waves on both sides. And if that's the case, is that why the indoctrination, the spells are cast at a early age? So our toroidal field produces a frequency that blocks all what the classed as supernatural. It makes sense to me. Whether it is or not, it's just a matter of opinion. If I state and stand up, chest out, and say this is a fact, it seems to get more traction. You know, everyone is winging it. Everyone is interpreting what they see in their own way. You know, and I'm not going to change who I am. I'm just that type of person. I like to be objective. I like to see both sides of the story and just show you that in the videos. So if we are here and we are taught to block out these things, and through understanding or understanding how you want to say it, we break these walls down and change frequency and let this new information out. Because look, there's many things, it's in front of your face and you've always gone, oh, it's hidden in plain sight. Where has it always been? Oh, that's a Mandela effect, or it's this, or it's that, it's supernatural. Has it always been there? Why did we not see it before? Because everything is a wave, a frequency. So if you wasn't on that channel, you're just going through life in your own realm, you know. And it's like that, the word the echo chamber. If you're only hearing the one voice, and it's constantly going over the same thing, that manipulates you into thinking that way. It's why I always talk about the truth and different things, because why it triggers. It's like the spell self-defense mechanism. It's like MK Ultra. Your mind switches to defend mode. Some of us have a code to break that, but you know, we're all manipulated in some sort, and that's why I try to just be objective if I can, look at both sides of the story. There's many times I've looked at people who say some things and gone, God, they're fucking crazy mofos. in a nice way. And then I see it and I'm like, shit. It's like, you know, it happens. And for far too long, I'm just the type of guy who just wants an easy life. So I don't go out to offend anyone. But people get offended by anything. And sometimes they'll just make up shit to be offended so they can insult you. That's just the world we live in, unfortunately, where people want to be like that. And again, this is what it all comes down to, and again, sense of this. Me breaking down the word toroidal and looking at how that manipulates everything. So if light is a wave of frequency, you have an electromagnetic force pushing it away, refracting it, changing its essence, its shape, and you basically guiding you through life, and you're walking, and your own stretch, and you're missing everything. And then when them walls slowly come down, and you let more light in, or visible light, or different types of light, it changes how you see everything, and you're like, damn. So that is, is it metaphorically, spiritually, it changes you. That was just like a huge wow to me. That your toroidal field, because I've done the video, toroidal field, the key to everything. Frequency key is what I turned the phrase, frequency key. Because the toroidal field is generally those type of shapes in it. And it looks like two heads. And that is why I talk about Janus, because it's funny that he's a janitor, everything has to go through him. Tor, it means door, who's the god of doors. And that is the door to everything. And people are religious, people are not religious, and I try to mix it up. People are hard of hearing, so I try to speak a little bit slower. Sometimes people are hard of seeing, sometimes people don't understand what I'm saying, so I will put subtitles in. Sometimes people have to put the CC captions. That is down to you. I believe you just got to click on the settings, but I try and mix it up, because a lot of people have different abilities, and I want to just show people, hey, people talk about the toroidal field, don't mention how it's a door, who's the god of doors. Oh, well, toroidal field is connected to the pineal gland. Okay, well, who's the god of the pineal gland named after? Ignore that. We have two eyes. Who has two heads? Ignore that. So you can just see how I talk about all these things and why I get excited. And yes, I do sometimes, like, pareidolia sort of put Janus in that, because that's just how I see. And we all have our topics that we will see this realm. And that's why we need it all together, because then it exposes, it creates more light. But sometimes that light is not visible light, so sometimes when they portray oh, this is the truth and facts, people say, oh, history is a lie. His history is a lie. Break it down like I have for years. His tor, oh, door, his Tory. We'll ignore that. All those connections that you've made for many, many years, Paul, we'll ignore that, because we have an agenda. Take what information you can use that changes your light, changes your scenario around you. That is what I always here to promote. And this is why this gets me excited, because when you start looking at it, hey, everything's got to come through this toroidal field. If you have a different type of field, the frequency is different, you're blocking, you're letting too much of something through, not enough of something through. And that is what they're manipulating you with, all these sound, frequency, and towers that are no good for the vessel. Remember, you are what you eat, not just through your mouth, but through your eyes, through your ears means something. So that then will have a knock-on effect to how you see everything around you. Once you start being open, in a sense of when people start being open-minded, it's a case of you're able to tune. You know, it's like having, people call them ham radios, some people call them CB radios. But just think about the radio, and if you locked, you're not open, are you? So you're just going to hear the same thing. You're just going to see the same thing. But then when you start being open-minded, you can tune through everything and see more. But also, you then will be open to more negativity that you would not experience before. It's like before I content creator, I didn't have as much negativity in my life, but because you're putting yourself out there for people with strange beliefs and just batshit crazy, telling you you are this, you are this. That's just one of the side effects of being open. It's like what was mentioned about the pineal. Talking about it has its plus points, but it has its negative side side draws. And it makes sense now how it's all connected. This toroidal field is your first line of defense. It's your door. It's either going to be open, shut, partial. Some people, oh no, I'm not going there. Oh my god, I walk into these things. That was just my rude. I would nearly said a joke, but I'm not going to go there. So don't ask me in the comments what I was going to say. Oh dear God, Paul. So yeah, all affects that. So that's your defense, or what helps you to see, because it says eidos, meaning form, essence, your shape. People see things. There's old clips of people with their eyes changing on live TV, and I've saw it myself. It's great. I've put it in an old video. I was going to put it in the last video, and I was just thinking, that's people's open to interpretation. But when you research it, they talk about how it's software, and I think Nvidia, and I did a video on Nvidia didn't, on how that's a goddess and different things. Anyway, so getting away from it, there's software that newscasters and different things make your eyes always look at the camera, even though you're looking down, and they say it's a glitch in that. But that software's only been open to 5 or 10 years, I think, something like that, maybe 15 at a stretch. And there's been things happening all the time, and people will say it's shown of demonic action, different things, and evil and different things. Well, the seats and the windows and the doors to the soul. So that's why you see it. But you also have to say, yes, it could be software glitches and that, the refresh rates of cameras. You have to. You can't just say it's all this and not say, hey, this is what they're saying on that side. But I caveat that and saying, how long is that software being used and manipulated? But is it being manipulated on purpose to create a storyline? So all the world is a stage and we're merely players. Stage. Anagram, gates, which is a door. So you can see why I get excited. So there we go, guys. You have your toroidal field. Light is a frequency, a wave, or particles, whatever way you want to call it. So it has to get through that first. So if you can manipulate that, you can basically morph and change the realm around you, portray something, portray this realm. Is it artificial? Is it organically artificial? Can it be both, if that makes sense? Could someone create a construct for us to live in? Are we here because we've sinned? Are we here because we want to experience different cultures, different faiths have different things? It's like one of my old favourite videos. I forgot. How could it be one of your favourites and you forgot, Paul? So it's basically the vowel effect, and in that I talk about how in this realm they wanted you to basically not know every word. So if you know every word or spell sigil, you can progress to the next realm. And, you know, even people talk about the seven heavens in Gnostic terms. And that's the same colours as the rainbow. I was talking about the rainbow as being access, that is the dead. And on each one of these doors, they have an archon, like a bouncer, who only lets you through if you know every word or spell and his name or her name, or whoever its name, you need to know, open sesame, the spell to get you through. So I always theorise in this video is that, hey, if you changes everyone's dictionary and change everyone's language, different spells have different effects and meanings and words. So if there is one true speech, one true language, and remember from the Tower of Babel, when everyone started to speak one language, the creator did not like it and knocked the tower down. But in a lot of cultures, and I didn't know this, there was a Tower of Babel in ancient Ireland. I did not know that. People always refer to the one in the Middle East, but there was one in Ireland. That's intriguing to me. And so if you knew all the words and spells, you can progress. Now, when I was looking at that, I was thinking, was it going to heaven? Was it you leaving this realm? But what if all these realms and doors and the spiritual world is already here? It's just layered. But you need a frequency, you need a spell. Hence why everything is spelling. So if you know the spells and the words, you just go to the next world. But it's still here. But you experience it differently. It's just hidden from sight. And that's why I always put stuff in to show you about altering the vision. You learn a spell. You learn all the spells. You progress. You learn all the different lights. Your eyes are able to interpret. And you can get onto the next realm. What happens when you do all of them? Do you get out of here? I don't know. People always troll me saying I should help them get out of here. You can't. You have to help yourself and take information from everywhere to get you. And you just move. You're oscillating. You're moving. And people talk about, oh, we're vibing, we're moving, and we're out with frequency. It's like what I was saying. We're so happy and everything feels brilliant and you're loving life. And some little bell whiff with negativity will come along and try and pick you down. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to be at their level. Like I was saying at the beginning, if you're that type of person, if you want to be negative and sad sack, be it. But don't bring me down. Let me be what I want to be. And again, with being happy, when the people are too over happy, they want to be in your face. People just want to influence everyone, and sometimes it's hard because you just want to share. So when it boils down to it, people just want to share what they're feeling. Hence why I'm sharing what I'm feeling doing this video. But I leave it up to you guys to, negate what you don't want and what you do want. There's no right or no wrong. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't on this content. And that's what I've never got my head around. Because I expect everyone to be like me, open, and you can't. You can't expect people to have your values. And that's what stopped me from doing a lot of shows with other people, because I'm sick and tired of doing a show with someone and someone who's fell out with them. Oh, well, you're doing a show with them, you're their best friend, I'm going to attack you. No, can't you be a fucking grown-up and understand people? I want to portray my message, and I'm going on platforms that people just show you respect. It's crazy. It's like a schoolyard. Oh, you can't talk to them. I'm not friends with them. If you talk to them, that's it. I want to troll you and talk to you and bully you. I can't stand bullies. Just be an adult and understand people talk to people you don't like. It's the way this fucking realm. It's how we see. And I want to talk to a lot more people, but I'm withdrawn. I'm not one to put myself out there too much. I like my own peace, if that makes sense. I've noticed that over the years. I do try to push myself out there and go on different platforms, but I can't. because I'm slightly withdrawn. You know, I just like my own company, I like my own family, and that's what makes me happy. And I'm just sharing my experience, how I see this world. And how I see this world is now is your toroidal field is key, because it's what lets in or blocks. And if you want to see the visible and invisible light, there's people out there with more cones, more rods. Once if you've got your pineal is larger, you know, what if, you know, so there's so many what ifs. And then when you start to look at the sin ritual and why they worship the eye, and in this video I was like, whoa, and then I was asking ChatGPT, which I've never done before, but I just wanted to see what the fake construct would throw out, and I was pleasantly surprised by some of its answers. I'm not taking it as fact, because it lies like shit. You know, people will say, hey, you've said this, and here's what the search engine says. It's all manipulated. And people say, well, you should use another search engine. They're all the same. That's why I tell you, you know, I treat everything as information, data, that's the essence. The consciousness is all someone's opinion, even the AI's opinion. So when that was talking about, because I've done a video years ago, as you know, I've said in the video about the pineal gland, the pine cone ritual, and just giving you what most theories are on it, then coming up with one of my own, and over the years that's progressed, and so he's doing this video and the last videos and some of them before, it's been working on behind me. So if the light is entering your eyes and making its way back to this doorway, people call it the seat of the soul. People say that has no purpose. It's your inbuilt clock, your circadian rhythm. It's what negates night and day, what's made night and day. And I've always said to people, you know, that's why they have this sun and moon in the sky, because they couldn't have everyone awake at the same time. So they create this as a method to make you asleep while you're awake here. When you're asleep, you're awake over here. You know, and that's called a circadian rhythm. Again, you can believe it, no, it doesn't matter. It's just what is out there. And people talk about there's more than one sun. Oh, that's fake. This is this, and this. But the ancients have saw it. They've drawn it in petroglyphs and caves. But also you have to say, hey, that could be what's classed as a sundog. In ancient times, if they saw a sundog, it looks like 3 suns. But what if it's not? You can't critique something and then say, well, back in ancient times they saw this in the sky and this means that, but didn't you say people didn't draw what they actually saw, and it's been metaphorical, spiritual, they were high at the time? No one knows the context. Are they showing you just the sun's path? Are they showing you an eclipse? Are they showing you something that happened in the heavens? It's all open to interpretation. So I interpret it one way, you will interpret it another, and that's the beauty of it. But you have to say all sides if it's possible. So yeah, they could be saying it's a sundog, but they could also be saying it's more than one sun. And if it's more than one sun, where is it now? Did something happen and make it the sun into the moon? That's why it's the same size. Because then most of you will know, they say, oh, the sun and the moon are the same size just by accident. You know, one's further away, but just from our perspective, it looks the same. And people will critique that. People will believe in that. But what if the moon was the other sun? And like that thing at the beginning, like in that myth, they threw a spear into the sun because they had more than one sun creating the moon, creating a different light. And as soon as you have a circle, and you throw something dead in the middle, it creates that circumpunct, the Godhead consciousness, the pineal, the symbol for gold, the symbol for everything. It's a big symbol. Even in Masonic tradition, they have the circle with the dot with the 2 St. Johns. Do you remember the John, which in another language is John, which Jan is another word for, yes, Janice. So it's funny how they have two Janices guarding this door, this sun, this light. Funny that, isn't it? And then obviously in different cultures you have the sun and the moon being different eyes of different gods. And it just makes you think, you know, different light portray a different emotion and a different frequency which changes. You know, they always said the moon, another word for the moon was lunatic. You know, so did that have a different effect? Has that changed? But that story just talks about how they threw a giant spear, and then if you look in, is it ancient Ireland? Sorry if you can hear some noise, just the neighbours are renovating. If you throw, was it, what's the name now? Was it Joath? I can't remember. Now, Joath, who had more than one head, reminds you of Janus, killed or blinded Finn Balor in his third eye or his head, and it was like in reference to the third eye. So all these cultures talk about spears in eyes, you know, and you know that's just more essence to make you think, God, shit, what is really going on in this realm? So if we did have more than one sun, and the sun is what produces the visible light, the radiation, if we had more than one sun, was that make it more, we could see everything? Or did it alter? Because there's no right or wrong. But that's just what I was thinking on. And I don't want to go down that route. I just wanted to progress it naturally. So I'm here talking about it now. So if there was more than one sun, now science, and I take it with a pinch of salt, are saying every place in this universe has a binary sun. Meaning more than one. 2, the L. Evans. And we had one. Where did it go? Could it be what is the moon now? I don't know. I have my own theory that we're in a room, we're in a chamber. You know, some people can call it burial chamber, but I've just followed the etymology and the spells and showed you that we could be in a giant cave. That's just my opinion. Don't mean it's fact. It's just my weird and wookie method of looking at this realm, because it seems to manipulate around us. That's why it needs imagination. It seems to feed off what we think. So if you control what we think, if you control what we see, you can manipulate this world constantly around you. And that's why we see all this stuff now, because once you open yourself and affix to that number and keep it stored, you see all these patterns. It's amazing, isn't it? So was there more than one sun? Did that affect how we see? Then you have stuff like in a solar eclipse, shadows act differently. So if, like I'm saying, it's just layer upon layer and layer and layer and layer, and once you attune to each layer, you can see things that you never previously seen, hidden in plain sight. You know, people talk about the Idrisil being the tree of life and knowledge, and everything's stored, everything is written, blah blah blah, everything is around us and is on these trees, these leaves, roots. Funny that the etymology of a word is a root. So you have all this and everything has to play, but I'm just looking to make sense for me, and hopefully it makes sense for me, and how I break it down basic for me will work for you. So picture your toroidal field. It's been manipulated since birth. You pick on a frequency, a force field, and it's kept until you know, maybe you can't hold a certain type of energy back. The basic level is for us to learn. It's like MK Ultra. No matter how many times they program them, they have a moment where the brain switches off and resets back to, you know, and they have to get them again to utilize and reset the brains. Maybe we're like that. Maybe we're here to research and enlighten ourselves. Learn knowledge, you enlighten. And that lighten then might be a different light, not visible. And that is how we see. So the more we learn around us, it exposes us to both negative and positive and good and bad, because you can see more. It's just a thought, isn't it? Then you tie that in with all the stuff from what I asked the chat GPT, like melatonin and melanin, that just made me go, wow. Because people talk about harvesting and putting things into the eye. And what if, it's just a huge what if there is a race of people, because are we the first here? Were we the last? What has been in between? It all depends on what you believe. But think about it, people who even think they are an elite race of something will carry on a ritual so they can see. And remember, altars, divine light, your pineal, it looks like someone is guarding the temple, watching the door. No, you're not coming in. Yes, you can come in. And they're manipulating the melanin and melatonin for their purposes, the black and gold. That just blew me away. You know, how many films have you saw when they manipulate and taking essence of different forms from us? Is it a medicine? Is it a tonic for these people who can't be at our realm and have to manipulate this? Is it used to manipulate the form, the essence? Because how we see is tied to all this. Makes you think, doesn't it? And that's just why I put it in there, because it just blew me away. If these ancient pictures of the Anunnaki, the sky people, remember, if you're up in the sky, the radiation of light is different to how it is down below. So if they then have settled down on our realm, our layer, maybe they need this melanin or melatonin so they can stay here. Could that be what they're talking about? The pine cone. They're just picking it off and showing you that they're being harvesting humans of this substance. Is that why everyone started with brown eyes? Because they had a lot of melanin and melatonin, and obviously dark skinned people. And is that what happened? Because I've always talked about us being in the layers, officially in a cave, and different types of light will have a different different effects on your skin. But then you quote to that, are they using that as a medicine, a narcotic, a drug, whatever you want to call it? It gets your mind blown. And again, I'm just going to keep progressing and keep looking at it at a different angle, angel, to see. And that's why I put the title. I've changed it many times, but I put it to like the Red Riding Hood, you know, and it just gets me mind blown. It's only if I'm just going to my phone. I've got to keep it. I'm waiting for an important thing. But yeah, that's why I put it to the all the better to see you with, because then the different lights will have an effect. And that's why I talked about the Sol Niger. Obviously, I can't say its own name because the algorithms will pick up at it, and because it was tied to a certain German party. Shit happens. But what if, like to have a light, the black sun, people will talk about how it's a physical thing in different, people believe in the realm is differently, and that the black sun is a physical object. And I'm treating it as both physical and something else, because I don't know. And people say, well, there's an image. That doesn't prove nothing. That just means someone's interpretation has made it into an image. And I'm just open to anything, because 1 week it'll be this, 1 week it'll be that, because the more I learn, the more I see. So could it be a physical thing out there that portrays a certain type of light that we need to open the pineal more? Is it something that has been made to constrict it or make it smaller? Who knows? Like I've talked about, could it just be a reference to spirituality and your different sets of your eyes? The Sol Niger is the one where your eye is constricted so much to not let as much light in, but you let in another type of light in. Dark is another type of light or colour. Is that the colour of creation, the void? I don't know, but it's just funny how it fits your different parts of your eyes. And then you have scrying mirrors, and so it really is an intriguing topic that is open for interpretation. But when you just put it in, as my perspective is showing in this video, connect it to your toroidal field, connect it to your eyes. What if your toroidal field is blocking this light, all types of light out, and it affects how you see? Do you see subconsciously? Does that have an effect, you know, to all how we see? So it's all a go. It's all got me excited, and that's why I try and talk about a lot of things in these videos. And then in my old video I was talking about how could the pineal be like the Sacred Heart. When you look at it in that form, it does look like someone is kneeling, sitting, and the pineal, it's a reddy browny colour, looks like a heart. Doesn't mean it is, but it just looks like it is. Then, as I'm making this video and showing you how certain cultures, Prometheus sculpted humans from clay, which then goes into all the faiths, how we was made from clay, and how they made the eyes in the image of gods. Is that how the gods experience this realm? You know, it's open again for interpretation and debate. But me just thinking about the pineal and how it is, could that be what Prometheus is chained? And something else I didn't want to put in, I nearly put in the video I had at the beginning and just changed it because I just went so many different routes. Is I've talked about it in videos though, Plato's cave. Now if you don't know what Plato's cave is, I'm just going to go the basic form, and it's not meant to be, you know, accurate, but in Plato's cave you had people chained to a wall looking at a cave wall, and they had not just normal light but also, you know, flame from a fire or, you know, a torch, and they were manipulating using signs of the hands and shapes and projecting images by candlelight or torchlight onto the wall. And I was just showing you how people can look and see what is portrayed. So if it's portrayed artificially like that, and they believe that the world was this, what they were seeing. And that's why I was trying to put into this video, in the sense of, if the sun is only portraying a certain type of light and we're only seeing this, when you change an angle of flame or a light or a wave or put an alternative, it changes how we see. It's like that old 6, and then you look at it from the other side and it's a 9, and you both go into war in because it's a 9, no, it's a 6. And that is how things from your perspective affect you, because it's uniquely you. It's why you're stuck in the middle, and that's why I always talk about it. And obviously then when the person escapes, he sees, you know, he's outside and it's the sun, and it's, God, is this what the world is like? Some people will miss being chained up. So all these things I try and put in a perspective of, this is how we are. You know, are we chained in the sense of our toroidal field, taught from young to project a frequency that acts as our chain and makes us only see a certain sight, and then more we, you know, mix together and hear someone's interpretation is just them basically breaking the link from that chain, and you're like, whoa, I didn't see that. Another link, whoa, and is this what happens? It's, again, like I say, all food for thought. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted it for it to speak itself. I've talked for far too long, like I do, but I miss speaking to you. And like I was saying, I'm planning to just do my old box room up, so I can do more content more sporadically, do more lives at different times, and just get my, you know, my perspective for this realm out there for you to see in this crazy head. So guys, please have a good week or weekend, depending on when this comes out. I'm just trying to project a day. I don't know what day it will be, but I love you guys, even negative people. You know, we are what we are, and I just appreciate all the love and the support. It means a lot to me that you're taking time out of your day, and hopefully you've understood what I'm trying to portray in this video. Could your toroidal field link be your pineal? And that is how you create and see this world. You see it physically, you see it spiritually, and other types of method that we see. It's just amazing, isn't it? But I am tired, I will admit. So take care, stay safe, always with a smile, and remember, you can help me by liking, sharing, subscribing, and if you want to go a bit further, that is buying me a bar. It's all truly appreciated, and I get stop getting me emotional. I can see it. So guys, stay safe, always with a smile, don't let the bar stools grind us down, and hopefully you've enjoyed the content. There's more coming. Bye guys. Bye. No, I'm going. I'm just trying to click. Bye.